Welcome to Wise Beyond Bitcoin, where you come for education, analysis, and opportunities in blockchain and crypto. My name is Lucas.
And my name is Ryan.
And we have an exciting follow-up video to do. As you know, we've been covering the content of reserve DAO currencies. We've covered them on different platforms, and we really want to go through after all the forks. I mean, there's been a lot of forks, right? I mean,
yeah, it's that we're in the season of the forks, right? Maybe even one or two spoons in there as well.
Oh, that's right. Openly, there's been some open sporks or spoons that have come out and said, we are not a fork, we are a spoon. In fact, we'll probably get into a couple, but we really want to go through and say, look, there's a lot out there. We want to pick the top three, show our top three true, solid DAO reserve currency protocols. Not that there aren't more, because there are some other good protocols and teams out there. We can only, take in so much, but from what we've had time to see, the ones that we feel are really there to build some long-term value on their native networks. And as a hint, we have gone into them in detail. So this is a quick recap, but we'll mention it's in order. I guess the first one we're going to go through is the main. Would you say that this is the original
yeah.
fork? The original.
Well, yeah, the original fork. Yeah, I mean, because we're talking about Olympus DAO forks, and Time is the first main fork on Avalanche, the one that took the world by storm as far as post Olympus DAO forks, or currency reserve protocol projects. This is the main one, biggest TVL, highest token price, biggest market cap. So yes,
transparency behind the creator and the intention behind providing stability to DeFi and decoupling from fragile centralized digital assets. This is great, and from it has spawned some really great protocols on other networks. Another one that we want to mention is Hector DAO for Fantom. Of course, Time in Wonderland is on Avalanche, so we've got Avalanche and Fantom. And then we also want to give a shout out again to WAGMI. We're all going to make it on Harmony One. Harmony One, another protocol that, a lot of people feel it hasn't had its time to shine yet, with Fantom and Avalanche having their fun in the sun with these run-ups and DeFi. And when you use,
and they're kind of just biding their time, right?
But when you use it, it's so fast, it's so low cost, it's so much fun. And you look at DeFi kingdoms and NFTs, what's going on it's pretty neat. It's incredible. So
yeah, there's lots of cool stuff happening on Harmony. But let's start with the beginning. Let's tackle Time in Wonderland.
Okay.
And or do you want to start with Nomics and just do a little quick?
We can do it. Just look at where we are today in crypto, and when you saw the recent surge, I noticed that Time actually was bouncing back and was one of the top earlier today. It was up 10 or 11%. And it's probably kind of calmed down. Well, here you go. It's still up there, 7% in one day, and having a nice little jump. But I mean, look, 22% Tezos. Shiba Inu is, that the markets are
lots of good news with Shiba and metaverse partnerships that are on the horizon. So yeah, no surprise there.
That's cool, because we've got some NFT news coming out if you want to know more about that. And that's also cool because Wonderland in Time is also Daniele.
Yeah, Danielle Sestagali.
He has mentioned that he envisions Memo Time having utility in the metaverse and in gaming. So could you, and seeing all of these DAO reserves operating in their own metaverses on their native platforms, this is so just adding that dynamic and that utility. But it's just a beautiful day in the market. I mean, a lot of these chains and a lot of these protocols are just, there was a shakeout of the, probably the over leveraged longs. And now that they shook it out and they're ready to buy the dips, there was a strong support, institutional support. There's been internet videos all over that in the market, how a lot of big institutional whales and solid players came in and scooped up Bitcoin at around 54. And so we've seen it's already shot up. I mean, that's huge, over 10% and or about 10.
Oh yeah. And as
24 hours,
and as you know, as Bitcoin goes, so does the rest of the market. So it's nice to see that trickling down, and
That being
the
said,
alts and everything.
that being said, if you're a maxi and you've been sitting on Bitcoin, it's been kind of hovering around this 60,000. Remember, it hit 60,000 months ago. I mean, it's hit that all-time high.
Sure.
However, when it comes, it kind of fluctuates and goes back and down. I've noticed that a lot of these other layer ones, a lot of these other alts, you look at Solana, you look at Avalanche, and I mean, going down the line, Crypto Terra, they are at all-time highs. So I would definitely say that, and this is just a market economic dynamic value added perspective. There's just been more growth in these other blockchains. I mean, they're adding utility. They're figuring out ways to engage in the metaverse. They're figuring out ways to solve problems with fragile stable coins. There are many things going on, but because of that, that having that more
development use case. The use case is what it is.
Use case.
Yeah.
And, communities growing around that. So, and of course, the gas fees on Ethereum.
Well, we know the maxi argument for Bitcoin was never a good one, and I think we'll see that play out as time goes on.
I've listened to ETH maxis, there are Ethereum maxis too, and others. So we'll do a video on that. Right now, let's get to our top 3 picks. This is our intro, and we have to leave it with a disclaimer. Of course, this is not financial advice. This is not any kind of advice or legal advice or commercial advice. This is educational information. This is entertainment. So if you enjoy it, if you like learning or you like laughing or being entertained, then hit the like, the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe. I noticed that we've got 892 subscribers. So if the first 8 people hit subscribe, you don't even have to hit the notification bell if you really don't want to hear this stuff, but hit subscribe and we'll hit 900. But if you do like to hear about this stuff and learn what's the latest going on, we love going all over the blockchain. We really scour to see all the different DeFi crypto blockchain protocols that are up and coming and that potentially are here to add long-term value. It's not a trading get rich quick channel. That being said, it's a very new space, very high risk. And a lot of the projects that are here today won't be here tomorrow. So we recommend you do your own research to be your own bank. DYO.
Yes.
BYO.
Don't invest more than you can afford to lose, as always, right?
For sure. Or that you can afford to watch go down and sit there for a year or two if that happens.
Yeah.
Be ready.
You gotta
come ready to hodl. Say this is
be comfortable.
And I'm ready to hodl and put it away and watch it do some stuff. That being said,
and so we're going to talk about our top 3 reserve currency DAO picks, right? And I guess the first one we want to highlight, which is will be no surprise to anybody following this, is Time Wonderland on Avalanche. This is the first fork of Ohm that really took off and became, very popular. Still probably the most popular fork of Ohm. Almost 2 billion total value locked. That's huge. And right now, currently around 86,000 APY. And if you want to know how those numbers happen, how that occurs, what are the tokenomics that make that possible, we do have a Time video where we go into the white paper and explain the bonding and the way the LPs and different assets are used to mint Time, and how that goes to the treasury, and how the treasury value is then grows and grows, and how that supports the creation and minting of new Time, and then that's paid out to the stakers and at a certain rate, and you create this nice little profit making ecosystem that generates more and more Time as it goes, and rewards those who stake. And so it's a community reward driven protocol. And yeah, the white paper is definitely something to look at under docs if you want to see how that works. There's a handy calculator that you can click on, and you can start to calculate what you can project, I suppose would be the word there, project like what an initial investment would be, what 30 days out, 60 days out, whatever, and then you have to speculate as to what you think the future Time price would be to get to get your answer.
Yeah, let's do an example. I like how you say this. Let's say you came in today and it was 77,634, and let's say when you left, it lost. Let's say you left
$1,000.
Let's say it lost half its value. Let's just say
okay, yeah, let's do that.
What would
that does?
Three about 38, basically about 38. 38.15, something like that. 17, 38.17 is what I see.
Yeah.
38.17 ish. And I
Stake
guess
it for 30 days.
I guess if I want to get real technical, I could point 0.025. All right, there we go. And that's half of the price. Now let's say you did it for a full year.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that.
You lost half the value, but you staked it for a full year. So your initial investment and the time rewards estimation, the potential return on that initial $7,634 would be
What, 327
320
million?
potential number of Lambos 14. That's ridiculous.
Is that 3 million or 32 million?
It's
32 million.
327,000. Oh, no,
Oh,
it is
okay.
million. You're right. No, pardon me.
Yeah.
It's
Because we got 14 Lambos in the mix.
That's right. It's
So
14 Lambos. Of course, it's 3.2.
Yeah.
Buy 14 Lambos for 320,000. 3.2 million. And that's if the price goes down over a year.
Mhm.
Now,
Right.
still, that requires a lot of still growth, even for the price to go down over a year to maintain the treasury. And ceteris paribus, we're looking at cryptocurrency not being a static market. The idea of
Sure.
these networks are that as more people come into crypto and they look for places of value to go, these DAOs are going to be those places of value that are open. But another thing we wanted to mention, these aren't just these protocols about making people rich and getting Lambos. They were here to solve a problem in DeFi to prevent rug pulls. And
we should talk about that. What are these things? What are we solving here by forking Ohm? What did Ohm do? What was the point of Ohm in the first place? Right. And then what are the forks accomplishing? I think that's something we should talk about.
They're accomplishing a couple things. One of them, you've mentioned the big thing, look, the big L word,
liquidity.
Yeah. And that's the one of the number one issues that they've been working to solve. And you can go into that if you want real quick, brother.
Okay. Yeah. So when you do a swap on a DEX, a decentralized exchange, you are coming in and out of an asset. You're buying one and selling another, and there has to be a pool of assets to make that trade happen. Now, a DEX is not a centralized exchange that has a pool of liquidity that's owned by the protocol, right? That it's actually the liquidity has to be user contributed. So instead of like E-Trade or another protocol having a massive amount of money that they borrow from somebody that's on their books just waiting to fund a trade, there has to be a way in a DEX, in a decentralized world, you have to find a way to crowdsource that money, right? And one of the problems is that when you rely on the users and the community to supply the liquidity, there's the risk that it could get pulled, right? As easy come, easy go, right? And if it's a decentralized crowdsource kind of a situation, then you might see liquidity rush into another protocol to take advantage of some new incentives, and all of a sudden some kind of your formerly effective and capable DEX becomes ineffective, and you can't buy and sell on it because there's just lack of liquidity. So one of the issues is trying to find a way to lock liquidity and to create incentives that prevent this hot flow problem from occurring. And that's what these reserve currency DAOs are trying to do.
Mm-hmm. They also help support the networks that they're built on. That's another facet to mention, is that whether it's Ethereum or Fantom or Avalanche or Harmony One, they're layer one smart contract platforms. They're made to be built on top of. They're not made themselves to be the standalone new currency of choice for the world. And what these protocols are seeking to do are seeking to come up with a more equitable, like you said, with the treasuries are there, no bank run worry, so to speak, with liquidity, but they're also locking up native tokens for that chain. So they're helping with the liquidity on the chain, but they're also helping with staking and security. Not just the LP rewards is the only yield bearing asset. When you lock up Harmony One can be staked. And if you've got,
Mhm.
you know, in your treasury, millions of dollars in Harmony One from the bonds, well, then you've got something else that you can stake and is generating.
Right. And it's generating income.
And what you mentioned earlier about liquidity is such a big deal. I thought this is why Harmony One, Euphoria, WAGMI, we're all going to make it, is one of our top picks up there with Wonderland time, because they have we cover this as well. I'm not going to read the whole article, but introducing Euphoria, as you can see from their inception, there is a collaboration and a harmony between this DAO and the Venom DAO, which is the decentralized autonomous organization behind ViperSwap, the Uniswap of Harmony One.
Yeah, the premier DEX on Harmony, right? The main one.
One of absolutely, it's the OG, it's the original, and it's definitely one
the
of
OG.
So, and this is a way to kind of bolster and, like you said, make sure that ViperSwap also now ViperSwap will have access to great
liquidity,
to some amazing liquidity and stability through this collaboration. And that's what these DAOs are here to do: bring some stability to DeFi and to DEXs. So that's cool.
Exactly.
So we mentioned Wonderland on Avalanche.
Well, let's take a look at Euphoria a little deeper. What I love about Euphoria is, well, obviously it's on Harmony, so it's really, really cheap and easy and efficient and quick transactions. And the fact that it's got a link to ViperSwap, that's amazing too. But in the documents, in the white paper, there's and it's towards the bottom, but you see that they want to introduce, or they want to include MIM as an asset that can be bonded to mint more WAGMI, their token. So they want to, and they're reaching out to Abracadabra and Danielle Sestagali and saying, hey, how do we bring MIM to Harmony? You know, how do we make that happen? Where can we get a bridge? They're asking for a bridge essentially. And I love to see that. That's one of the things I love to see is protocols looking to build bridges with other sound ecosystems and protocols. And the more that these bridges are built, the more links you see, it tells you that, hey, this is going to be around. These are serious people. They're not just creating a fork for the sake of forking, but they have long-term plans, and they're looking to make some real innovative and value-added moves. And yeah, all in all, I feel very good about Euphoria as a fork of Ohm, and as the fork of Ohm on Harmony going forward, because I know there's a couple others that are coming.
Absolutely. And there may be others that
are doing
some great stuff as well. This is just, our top pick.
That's a good section, that importance of protocol owned liquidity. That really kind of unpacks what's going on here.
Yes. And that's what a lot of these DAOs, that's really what they're here to solve. So this will really give you a good insight as to why this DeFi 2.0 revolution is taking place.
Exactly.
Okay, so we have another one. Now, I did take a snapshot, so I wanted to show. So let's say you're here and you're at Euphoria, and they had a place. Mistake, mint. Where was it? Shucks. There was maybe it's when you're staking. I don't remember where I found it, but there was a place to, this is part of me. This is from Hector DAO. That's
okay.
I got ahead of myself.
We're moving on to Hector, so that's great. So now we've talked about time on Avalanche. We've talked about Euphoria on Harmony One, and number 3 is going to be Hector on Fantom.
And
Hector
this
DAO.
and I was trying to find what you were talking about, and I couldn't find it. Should have had it pulled up in the white paper. We talked about it. Look in our Harmony One video, because we do find it and go into detail. But as Ryan was talking about, one of the neat things about Euphoria, and if you look at for growth potential, notice how they don't have MIM here in their discounts yet. Well, adding MIM is the 4th phase on what to roll out on their 4-phase protocols, and they've accomplished the first 3.
Right.
That's the WAGMI 1 LP, the DAI bonds. And I believe UST having Luna Terra. Hello, UST, Luna Terra. So
we're talking about cross-chain.
We're talking about cross-chain already. And they've already reached out to Daniele. They've already reached out and said, we're looking for developers to help us bring MIM. So they are looking to add MIM to the Harmony One Euphoria liquidity treasury pool. I'm very huge, very bullish on what they're already accomplishing and their connections to Viper Swap and what we've already shown. So yes, Wonderland, Euphoria, and as you mentioned, let's move on to the Fantom network, which is another. We've done a deep dive into the Fantom.
Yep. We have a Fantom video. We also have a Hector video where we do a closer, deeper look at that protocol specifically. So if you're interested in that, check that video out. But we're just doing a top 3, trying to just cover the high points here. So
yes.
But so Hector DAO, this is a new launch. This isn't hasn't been out more than like 2 weeks, maybe a week and a half. It's relatively new from what I remember. Price floor is about what, $89.
I guess it's almost a month old. Yeah.
And this is the fork of Olympus DAO. So it's, if you're familiar with that, you kind of familiar with this framework, what's going on here. But this is something that, what Frax, I mean, we were talking about Frax, MIM as being already part of the bonding assets here. So that's huge, right? That's one of the reasons why Hector kind of jumps out at us. So, because there's a lot of these, if you go to ohmforks.com, you can see that, hey, there's a bunch of them on Avalanche. There's a bunch of these on Fantom. There's some Solana forks, on and on and on. So why Hector, right? And I know, well, Lucas, you want to jump on that because this is kind of your baby, but I do know that the links between MIM and Frax,
those are my two. Those are
collateral assets. That's huge.
Those are two of my favorite, my top. Looking how they're bringing Frax into the play with MIM is a big deal. Because Frax is up there. When you look at who's out there in crypto looking to bring an answer to centralized stablecoin risk, Frax and Frax shares are another solid protocol out there, like Luna Terra, that have in a way are building on a solution that they've brought and are continuing to bring. Oh, it's been brought. I like how Hector includes both of them, obviously. And let's go into this is where I wanted to show they have here governance, Spooky Swap, Spirit Swap, Hector Bank coming. I'm going to say that this community on Hector, what they are here to represent for the Fantom network, they're very, very, very serious. And reading their paper, looking at them so far, I'm very bullish. This is where you pull out this graph, right, where they show the purchasing power of the US dollar and what they aim to do for Fantom on the Fantom network. They aim to be that reserve.
Well, I like how, didn't they mention at the beginning? I didn't see it, but I think they mentioned that the importance of getting away from the centralized stable coins that essentially import the Federal Reserve monetary policy. Isn't that what they're talking about?
They do. Stablecoins, USDC have become integral part of the crypto space. We use them to store non-volatile value, allowing us, but look at how they decrease in value. So if you're storing value in stablecoins, you're still losing all of your value. And we actually did a video on this.
That's kind of why I wanted to highlight it. It's like, well, this sounds familiar.
And I forgot the name of it, but there was an economic article. Do you remember the name of the article that it was? If you want to know about the economics and really it
was an article that was talking about the trilemma.
Oh, it was
in international monetary policy, where we either have a trade-off between stable exchange rates and free movement of capital, and then monetary policy, sovereignty. You can't have basically you have to give up one of the three in order to peg, if you peg your currency.
Was it decoupled dollar with DAOs and decentralization? This is the
that's it. That's the article. That's the
Stablecoins Untethered, decoupled dollar with DAOs. So there you go.
Yep.
Right. And
We do a dive into that whole thing.
we get deep into that, the economics of it. Now,
But it's good to know, because that's why UST, MIM, Frax, that's why these things are so revolutionary and so important. And as far as adding to the value added that stablecoins represent. Because if we just stop here and we don't continue to decentralize, you really haven't done anything. You're just importing. You just created a digital placeholder that's going to trace the dollar up or down.
Right. And the idea is to use this technology to move away from that devaluation, to move away from that fragility, not just peg to it. It's like you're only strong the weakest link. So governance, you come into governance, you're a member of Hector, you've got some HEC, and you click on governance, and this clean little page pops up. I love how easy it is to get involved. It's a DAO, decentralized autonomous organizations. You can see what they're voting on. Application for yield farming on a pool on Spooky Swap. They're looking to continue to grow their treasury and their reserves, and they have votes on it. Budget allocation for audit. Yes.
Nice.
And those are the kinds of things you like to see, right? They've got a community voting on it. Yes, we've got a budget put aside to make sure that everything's audited. We're doing things to ensure long-term value in the protocol. So this is why that was my third pick. Now, those are our top 3 picks. And there are other protocols out there. We're not to say that these are the rest of them are bad, because do your own research and see what's out there. However, we do have 2 honorable mentions. 2 honorable mentions that are not out yet, but are on OTW, which is text message lingo for on the way. They are on the way, and they're going to be here soon. We're going to get to
what do you want to start with the first one?
Well, all roads lead to the first one.
To the Rome. All right. Well, all right. So Rome DAO, according to their Medium articles and all their documentation, is launching today. When you go to the website, it seems like it's still a work in progress. Could be tomorrow, but regardless, Rome DAO is on the way. Should be here within a few hours, and it is a reserve currency DAO on Kusama Polkadot. They are also going to be looking to incorporate Moonriver as well later on. So that's a huge thing. There's a game involved in this where there's multiple games actually, but there's a way to play to earn, and there's NFTs that can be won in the game, and there's various houses. So Rome is in there. So Rome is talking about working and having a partnership with Olympus DAO. That's part of it. So the Olympus DAO people are the Greeks in this telling, and the Romans are obviously referred to as the Romans, and so there's going to be a community in a sort of a relationship there. And the other thing is that Rome has a series of houses where you can, it's a DAO, so it's a centralized autonomous organization. So you can group up with whatever house you want, whichever kind of suits your preferences, right? And then through those houses there'll be votes and various choices on how those houses will organize their affairs, and what the contract will look like, and what kind of things they'll offer. So there's going to be a lot of interesting, I guess you would say, tokenomics applied to choice decision making is the way to use that. But it's not going to be a straightforward fork of Ohm. It seems to be way more complicated. And all in all, it looks interesting. I mean, I've read the white paper a couple of times, and there's definitely been moments where I had to like reread things just to see if I could wrap my mind around it. But all in all, it looks very well thought out. The white paper is well done, and with the desire to have real relationships with Olympus DAO and with the and Moonriver, as well as being on Polkadot and Kusama, which is that's great. So right off the bat, this looks like a very strong project. Again, do your own research. But if I was going to have a short list of these forks to be researching, I would put Rome on that list for sure.
Absolutely. The way that they're outward in support of Time and other forks they're working with, the fact they're doing this with Polkadot and Kusama to bring that liquidity to Polkadot and Kusama to bring this. This is big. We're big fans. In fact, we've got a video on parachains, how to participate in parachains, because right now Polkadot's going through its historic official first round of auctions, well as 5 auctions, and I think they're on the 4th one right at the moment. First 3 have been announced. I feel maybe the 3rd one's being announced soon. We can actually check that out. But anyway, yes, this is I like this. Moon River too. Moon River just recently launched from the Kusama Parachain successful auction, and talk about being early. I mean, this is about as early as it comes. Rome DAO's not even out yet, and they're looking to add value and liquidity to ecosystems. Look at this, to Moon River and layers built on, as Polkadot's considered a layer 0. So this
they're going to be they're going to have the option to mint Rome or bond Rome using MIM right off the bat, which is one of our favorite stable coins, right? And so that's all told, this is very exciting to see where that goes.
And our last honorable mention on another ecosystem that we're very supportive of is Luna Terra and what they bring to stable coins in a decentralized fashion to blockchain, and the layers as they're connected to IBC, the IBC community, Cosmos, Tendermint, and sneak peek, spoiler alert, Ryan found an article. We're going to look on a deep dive, but they're actually talking about building smart contracts and DAOs on Luna Terra, not just a place for stable coins. So just know that it's definitely a lot more dynamic than just a decentralized dollar in that sense.
Oh yes,
with the UST. Sure. Leserve is the DAO on Terra, and it's not out yet. But if you'd like to know more about it, we will leave a link to every one of these below for you to do your own research, so you could read their vision and their mission. And they actually come out and explain that we're a spoon, we're not a fork. We're inspired by Olympus, right? And they want to replicate a lot of that, the purpose of bringing liquidity to the network. However, what's different about Olympus built on Ethereum and Leserve built on Luna Terra? Well, Luna Terra is built on a stable dollar. It's built on UST. And that's right. What's neat about Leserve is that you have something that from the outset, the bond, the treasury, you've got anchor protocol ways that there's, almost like a 20% AP on your stable coins. So the fact that your underlying token, your native token, is essentially backed or by UST, I think that's one of the main.
I bet we see a Luna Osmo LP bonding option on this. What do you think? That could happen.
Possibly.
I don't want to maybe be wrong about that, but I feel that would be a good one because of the fact that there's so much activity on Osmo.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let me see. Let's see. They're connected to the IBC. Now they may be partnering or having plans to do something else, but I didn't want to go to Osmosis Zone. I want to go to one of our favorite IBC map of zones.
Oh yeah.
And it's why you say that is because if you're trying to, bring value and liquidity to the more popular ecosystem of exchanges, you see that Osmosis right there leads in IBC transfers. It's at the top as index. And this just beautiful ecosystem just continues to grow and grow.
Yeah, we're very bullish on this ecosystem. Secret and Atom, all in all, it's one of my favorites right now. Yep. The transactions are so quick, the fees are so low, and to be able to stake it right out of the wallet, it's awesome.
It is. It's pretty neat. It's a lot of fun compared to other protocols over the time. going to name out anything in particular because we're all emerging and figuring this out together. It's like, I don't want to complain about internet on the airplane. You know what I mean? When someone's bringing you a drink while you have Wi-Fi and you're flying at hundreds of miles an hour. It's like, let's not complain about the lag, right? And
this stream is glitching.
I mean,
my money back.
We go say, here's a link over here, go over to this app. And there are devs, there are developers that have been working, not just on the tokenomics and the game theory. There have been rug pulls for sure. And there have been some bad designs, but from that and around that have also been some very well-built protocols, which is why when something is very well built, people fork or spork or spoon it and make these improvements. So that's why these early years, this is definitely a Wild West ecosystem of learning and innovation, because these are the people, these are the devs, these are the people that are laying the groundwork for the future to interact with cryptocurrency and blockchain and DeFi. This didn't even exist a couple of years ago. This didn't even exist a few years ago. And now, you know, some people talk like it's been around forever. And the reality is we're still in the infancy.
It's very new.
Still very learning how to make this.
And we're all going to learn together, right?
And we are. And I think we all did a good job learning about the top 3 DAO picks. We mentioned it. Yeah. It was Time Wonderland, Euphoria on Harmony 1, the first one, Avalanche, and of course, Hector DAO, Fantom. And our honorable mention, Rome, covers Polkadot and Kusama. And our last one, Leserve, covers Luna Terra. And I got to say, you know, if you like to learn about crypto and blockchain and you're excited about all these different protocols and seeing which different ones have different unique value to add to the ecosystem and utility, I highly recommend participating. Participation is key for airdrops, for other rewards, and for learning. And also, you will often find, now, of course, when the market looks like this, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas with all this green and a splash red. But that being said, when you're diversified, I find often in times of consolidation that you'll always find a couple projects that are doing well or going through their time. There's this.
And you're happy you have those in your portfolio when that happens.
Okay, well, at least I can look at this today.
Yeah. My big holdings are all down, but I got $1,000 just made 10%, so I'm happy.
You know, there's that, like in the scripture, it said that, and it's true. It's like if you have a whole bunch of sheep and one is hurt or one is lost, you're going to focus on that one.
Yes,
and that's true. But it's also true. You're going to be like, I'm going to focus my energy on this one out of the other 99. But it's also true that if the market is a blazing red and you've got one that's looking green, you're just going to sit there
and just look at it. Yeah. That's
maybe
true.
I think so. You can drop a comment below if you agree or disagree, or thumbs up and all that good stuff. You know what to do if you like this information. I think we covered it. Is that pretty good, brother?
Yes, sir. That's a wrap.
Till the next time, have a beautiful day. Namaste.
Thank you.